Hey there. I had a customer who asked me to do this inlaid cutting board. It's got a sun and moon inlay. So I thought, why not make a little video? I cut these all on the CNC, and right now I'm just pouring a bunch of glue in there, and I'll spread it around here with the silicone glue brush from Rockler. I thought the idea was so cool that I would make 2 of these cribbage boards. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to sell it. So I've got 2 here to glue up, and I'm going to use the vacuum press bag for gluing it up. The vacuum press bag gives us perfectly even pressure over the entire piece, regardless of, well, it just does. So atmospheric pressure is like 14 psi here. I live only about 300 feet above sea level. Mountains nearby, but I thankfully don't have to put up with them. So 14 psi, that's pounds per square inch. Multiply that out over the surface area of this board, and you've got some tons of pressure. By that I mean, multiple tons of pressure over the entire surface. So you get this really, really good spread of pressure. And with clamps and clamping calls, you can do really, really well. I have done it in the past and have had really good success. But I also had some really, really good teachers, and some people get frustrated when they do an inlay because they don't get the clamping pressure and therefore the results that they think they should. What I mean is their clamping pressure is not quite even enough, and when your clamping pressure isn't even enough, it'll end up being less than adequate over the whole piece. So with the vacuum bag, when you evacuate all the air out, you get atmospheric pressure pushing down on your piece. And when I put it in the bag and seal it up and then turn it on, well, the pump's already on, but evacuate all the air, you'll see how tightly the bag sucks down onto the piece. While I'm standing here talking, working at all this glue, I'm making certain that I have glue on every single little nook and cranny. I don't want any excuses for this to not work. Customer's paying me a good amount, and I want to give them what they asked for without having to duplicate it. Well, I did duplicate it, but without having to do one of these over again. So I don't really mind using a little extra glue. You see the tape I put on here. I've got these lines cut to separate out the cribbage board tracks. And I want to make sure that those lines don't get squished full of glue, because that would be near impossible to reset the 0 and then recut them. So now that I've got a good lot of glue on there, I'm going to take and do a little squish test here. And what I like to do is push it in there and see what the glue is doing, where it's hitting. Then I know where I want to put some more glue. So I'll grab my fast cap glue bot and make sure that I also have on the male piece copious amounts of glue. Like I said, I don't want any excuses for this not working. So if you haven't experienced the fast cap glue bot, by the way, shameless plug for them. They don't give me anything, but man, this thing is incredible. You can glue straight up and down like this and still be pushing glue out. Pushes glue down from here up through this and out the spout. And it's made of a pretty good material. It doesn't seem to dry onto the glue bot itself. The glue doesn't. So pretty handy. I highly recommend those. They're like, I don't know, $7 or $6. Maybe not when you're just starting out. Maybe you don't want to spend that much money on it, but that's okay. All right, that one's ready to go in. I've seen people smack inlays with mallets and things like that, and I don't know. I think that's a little bit silly. No real need for that. So all of this was cut on my Laguna CNC with the program designed in Aspire. I traced the original artwork off of the internet. It's a pretty common picture. I traced it in Inkscape, which I'm just now learning and trying to get kind of good at. Took me only 2 tries to get it to come out right, with a little bit of editing and note editing, that is, and a little push here and a little pull there. I think I got it to turn out pretty well. I'm actually quite fond of the way the Inkscape program did the trace for me. All right. So that is good to go. There's very little glue on the outside here. I'm not worried about, when it's in the vacuum bag, I'm not worried about it weeping out and making a mess of anything. So with the vacuum bag, let me set this one aside. With the vacuum bag, there's a big opening on one end. I've got this MDF board in here. Let's see. There you can see now. We've got a little PVC pipe. Goes in here, hooks. Got some hook and loop or Velcro here. And then this ABS or PVC maybe also clamps on. And then once that clamps on, that creates an airtight seal. I've got a hose going up through my workbench in one of the dog holes. And we'll go over here so you can see what happens when I open the tank. Alright, so here you can see the pressure pulling that down perfectly evenly all the way around the whole thing. Once we get full vacuum, the tank will stop, or the pump will stop, and then it'll just hold that pressure until I make a change. And I guess the first change I'll make is go ahead and pour glue and rub it round in here like you saw me do on the other one, and then open it back up and shove that in and put the clamp back on.